Right. Ready? I needed to get
Right.
them synced
Synced.
up. All right. So it's week 7.5. It's been a week and a half since we put the second box on top of the first box. Today we're going to do 3 things. We've got 10 new frames of just foundation in there, so we're going to see how much they've drawn out. We're going to check and see how much food they have and whether or not we need to feed them some more. And we're going to go on another futile queen search, and hopefully we find her this time. So if you want to see the previous weeks, where do we go? It's somewhere right over there. Comment below. Make sure you like the videos so that more people get to see them.
That'd be nice.
A little bit better. Yeah. So we'll get at it and
Let's find the queen.
find the queen and see how much they've grown. Let's see what our situation is on sugar water. We've got a ton of it. Or not a ton, but it looks like they went through about half of it. Oh, lots of little guard bees.
They're beefing up their defenses now that there are more bees.
Okay, let's go through the first one. Oh, look at this bee carrying out a dead bee.
Flew it away from the hive.
Empty frame, still empty, but it looks like they've just started to deposit a little bit of wax onto this one. End frame, still empty. Still empty. That's 3 frames that we've done, that we put in the last week, that are still empty. They've put a lot of propolis in, so they've tried to lock the top down a little bit. Oh, there we go.
Drawn out.
Frame just started getting drawn out. That's good. This was a brand new frame, so that's an encouraging sign. This was one of the brood frames we put in, and all of the brood is basically hatched out. Check that out on this side, and all of the brood is basically hatched out on this side, and they're filling a lot of it with pollen. Let's see if we can find a queen anywhere. There's a ton of baby bees, of just hatched bees that are quite a bit smaller than the regular workers. So okay, so this frame was a brand new frame that they had started drawing out immediately. See how it is. Oh, look at all the larvae in that one. That's exactly what we want. So this was a brand new frame a week and a half ago, and now it's filled with larvae. And on this side, it's all drawn out and not filled, but has quite a bit of brood in it. And a whole bunch of larvae. So they're really working on it. You can tell that she doesn't like laying on the wires from the foundation since it's all empty.
She's particular.
I'm told that they're very particular about this kind of stuff. But
Very
tons
cool.
of little baby bees. Trying to spot the queen here. But nothing. You can tell all of the baby bees that are just hatched, they have like crinkly wings and look a lot grayer than the other ones. Okay, this next frame was all brood last week. We'll see, most of it is probably hatched out. There's a ton of new brood. Trying to see if I can spot the queen. And a ton of hatched out brood. Nothing on this side. Giant honey stores on the left and right over here. Okay, so this frame was a brand new frame, and we've got a whole bunch of honeycomb, brand new, and nothing on this side. And the last two frames are completely empty. Yep.
They're much more interested in me this time.
Okay, top box. Well, we've got a whole bunch of brood. Means the queen is still laying. We'll go down to the bottom box. Let's see how we're doing down here. Okay, so the end frames on this one were brand new. This one's all drawn out with a whole bunch of nectar in it, but nothing on the other side. The end frame is completely empty and it has a wax moth in it, so we should probably get rid of that thing, because that'll kill us pretty quickly.
That would kill what?
The hive.
Really?
If the wax moths start laying eggs in them, yeah. Okay, so this was our old honey frame, which is still lots of brood on this side, but a ton of honey and nectar, and completely filled with honey on this side, which is fine. It means that they're just making use of it in a normal way. This was a brand new frame of brood last week. It's still a brand new frame of brood with a whole bunch of bees that have just emerged and a whole bunch of new larvae in it. So we could find the queen around here somewhere. And the backside is all hatched brood. Not all hatched brood, but a bunch of hatched brood from last week. Now a little bit of dead brood. That's interesting.
What does that mean?
Dead baby bees. But check out the babies that are just emerging. See them?
Mm-hmm. Very, very cool.
That's pretty awesome. The
Yeah, it
baby bees just starting to come out. Still trying to spot a queen, but don't know where she is. I'm blowing on them to see if they'll get out of the way and if the queen's underneath them. The number of tiny baby bees is incredible, of just hatch bees, which means that the hive is going to grow drastically again in the next couple of weeks, especially with all the new brood that she's laid. Okay, so this was a brand new frame last week. I screwed up with this stick. And they've drawn it out completely almost, but there's nothing laid in it. And they just started drawing the back one out on this one. Okay, this frame has a bunch of brood and a bunch of pollen in it, which is good. It's all food stores. This was a brand new frame. It's all drawn out. Not all drawn out, but it's starting to get drawn out.
They're starting to like hit this
The
thing.
camera. That
Yeah.
happened.
There's a little bit of brood on the back of it.
There's a ton of brood on this one. Fair amount of eaten out brood. Again, I'll have to check on why there would be dead brood. And there's a tiny bit of brood on this, but this frame, oh, this is hatched out brood, so there was brood in here, and they've hatched out.
Nectar.
Honey, nectar, and a ton of nectar. Okay, we're done in here. We stirred them up enough.
They're pretty stirred up.
Yeah, didn't find the queen, but we know the queen's in there because there's a whole bunch of new larvae. We didn't smoke them very much today, which is probably why they're so stirred up, especially when we took the second box off, but we wanted to see if we could find the queen, and we weren't able to, so she might be in here. She's in here, but we don't know exactly where. Alright, so overall, I'd say success. We have a ton more bees. We have a bunch of dead bees, or a bunch of dead brood, so I'm trying to figure out why that is. I guess we'll ask a couple people and see. But far more bees than there were weeks ago, so that's a good thing. They also got far more stirred up than they have in the past, and that's probably because we didn't smoke them much and we just let them have at us. I think we only got one sting though, it looks like. Did you get any?
I don't think so.
Yeah, so it looks like we only got 1 or 2 stings. We'll feed them again next week, I guess, and hopefully they'll be better. Still can't find the queen. We know she's in there. There's a whole bunch of new larvae. I bet she'll keep laying as long as they go. I'll ask why we would have dead brood. With that, that's all we got this week, so we'll go from there.
See you next week.
See ya.